Hi people. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my view of masculinity. Yep. I'm a woman and I'm going to speak about men today. So make your peace with that because it's happening. Okay? Right. First of all, I can and I will and I should. I want it to be banned from the mouths of men who can't achieve and demonstrate masculinity. However, as a group, I've seen that men disagree on what it specifically is, and so that's why there's confusion among the women who speak on it. If we don't live it, we get the information regarding masculinity from somewhere. I can definitely say that I have lived 0 days on this planet as a man. I understand and I respect that. That's a part of it every time I talk about masculinity. We get the information from men and women. And every woman that I get the information from has gotten that information from somewhere. She may be misunderstanding it, which can be aggravating, I imagine, for men. But it's also aggravating for me too, because now it means that I got bad information, and if I act on it, nothing good could possibly come out of that, right? But somebody's going to have to clarify it. So when I speak on it, if I get the answer wrong, you can clarify it. You can tell me what the difference is, but I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to speak on masculinity because it has to do with what I accept and what I understand in terms of interactions with men. So if you're here, you're invested, and you're active in defining what masculinity is, this is to you, men, right? Then it doesn't have to be defined for you. A lot of men don't like what women have to say about masculinity, and I understand that. But what I am saying is that comes from not being told. If you meet a woman who doesn't want to listen to you, then that might not be a woman for your personal circle. But you guys know a lot of things about femininity, and you get some of the answers right, you get some of the answers wrong. So masculinity, what we know, it does come from a man from somewhere. Either something we've seen, something we had to interact with. And there are times where you guys are upset about things that happen in a relationship, but that was the woman's learning experience. She did what she thought what she was supposed to do, and you either went along with it or you declined. And so therefore, what she learned was that there are certain things that men accept and certain things that they don't. Today, I'm presenting my view. You can agree or disagree, but these are the things that I've learned from interactions with men. Family members, classmates, co-workers, friends, neighbors, men through all walks of life, because I'm a person that can talk to almost anyone. So I have a lot of different experiences, and I enjoy that in life. It's just not having the same person over and over and over in different people. So number one, why? Why would I ever speak on masculinity? Despite all of the negative feedback that I get from speaking on masculinity, I still do it. And why? Is because when I'm speaking on masculinity, my goal is to garner respect and understanding for it. I haven't lived that life, but I do listen to what men have to say within reason and specific men. I have a father. I have a son. I have male cousins, nephews, male friends, male colleagues, male neighbors. And when I interact with strangers, I don't have a desire to see strangers harmed. So even though the people that are considered to be in my life, the males that are in my life, I love them and care about them and definitely would not want them harmed and would do my best to prevent that. Other men that aren't in my life specifically, I don't have an active desire to see them harmed. That doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help me, it doesn't help them, it doesn't help society as a whole. So I speak on it so that men are not, at least not in my presence, they're not constantly judged and critiqued and run into the ground. A society full of men that are running to the ground helps whom? Basically, this is a way for me to contribute to every man being covered. So why do I speak on masculinity? To choose, to vote. Number 2, to whom do I speak on masculinity? People who share ear space and they're willing to listen. Specific men may inquire about my thoughts and expectations, and that influences my reactions and my choice. It's going to influence who I interact with and in what way, what role, what capacity. I don't try to teach grown men how to be men, but any boys in my charge, any boys that are in a classroom or in a session with me, my son, my nephews, my younger male cousins, I have to be informed about what masculinity is, and I require them to do things that are going to be helpful to them in adulthood. If I'm not allowed to know, that doesn't ensure that you will be able to be present in their life. You're going to be present in their life anyway. My goal is not to replace their fathers. My goal is to support their father's role, because as a human being, a mortal, you can't be everywhere 24/7. So we do have to work together, and sometimes I am in charge of your sons. And so what that means is that if I know what's expected of them, I can confirm, I can condone. Basically, I can support your lesson. If there's a man who made it to adulthood without learning or developing his own view of masculinity, my job is not to place that there. But I do have to know what to stay out of to allow him to do that. So I provide what I saw from the men in my life. As a kid, my dad and my uncles kept me out of certain things and allowed me to do other things. They definitely gave me feedback and correction. And so, depending on the role that the man is that's talking to me about what's expected in masculinity is feeling, that's how I determine how much of it I place when I am talking to boys in my charge. So, to whom do I speak on masculinity? The willing to listen. When do I speak on masculinity? Well, if I believe masculinity is being threatened or I see an opportunity to advance its progress at that very moment. I have a genuine vested interest in preserving masculinity. That is so that I can experience it. That's the point. It's the other half, right? We notice and we talk about what we like, and I want men to be able to be masculine freely. And so I have fond memories of what it looked like. My dad and uncles did a great job. My male teachers, I forgot to mention them earlier, but I did not forget that they helped as well. I had male teachers. I had male club advisors, like in high school, in college. So experiencing masculinity from the fond memories that I have, it makes me happy and calm. And so therefore, for the future, it preserves mankind. If we don't allow masculinity to happen, eventually we're gonna die out. That helps no one. So, masculinity is needed for protection, procreation, and participation in life. It's a good thing, right? So I want to help it. I want to help it advance. I can't do that if I'm not allowed to talk. I agree with the laws that are in place that are designed to prevent cheating at the idea of masculinity. Being masculine means you get access to femininity because it's outside of you. It's the thing that you're going to need, the thing that you don't have, and vice versa for us. So half-hearted attempts at displaying masculinity. I agree with law. There are certain laws that are put in place, and it seems hard on men, but it's designed to prevent that. It's designed so that only the men that have achieved it can experience the outside aspect of femininity. You want that because if you work hard and you put in the work and the effort, why would it be fair for somebody to just skip the line? You know, like how on like sitcoms they have a marathon and somebody always gets in a taxi and drives like most of the race and then they end up being first place. That's not fun, especially when you have been working out for the past few months. So you know that's what those laws are designed to do. With anything, there's cheating and there's loopholes. So just kind of keep that in mind. I do speak out against laws that I think are unfair, that stifle, that prevent life for men. That is not appropriate and it's not going to be helpful to us either. Overall, men are needed, they're appreciated, and specific ones should be corrected, redirected, or excommunicated. So, when do I speak on masculinity? When it's requested or when I'm required to do so. Where? Where do I speak on masculinity? In the very place that I'm called to action. If I'm not supposed to have thoughts or opinions on a subject, then I shouldn't be held responsible for the knowledge of what is or is not a man. If I can't know and I'm not supposed to have opinions, I can't live my life, including a man in it. That's just not appropriate for adults. Now, I'm not saying that this is not only, related to romantic relationships. This is society as a whole. I don't give relationship advice unless I'm specifically asked to do so. My reason for that is because I want to include those people who are currently single. They're still part of society. So, if I find myself in a male space, if I'm approached by a man in other spaces, if the conversation is leading towards what I think about men or what I want in a man, I have to have a working knowledge on which to base my personal judgments. I don't attempt to define masculinity as a whole. I can only speak about the parts of it that impact me because I don't live it every single day. I interact with men daily, and I would like to know how not to trigger negativity, how not to trigger pain, how not to trigger death, things like that. Most life decisions require choices about my company or my partnerships. I need to know what to expect and what I'm getting ready to be dealing with. So where do I speak on masculinity? Every place I'm given an audience. How do I speak of masculinity? From a logically and subordinate viewpoint. Everyone doesn't have to agree on that. But what I'm saying is that by nature, by physical and also specific personal limitations of my own, When I speak of masculinity, it's going to be from a subordinate position, because they're going to be more of the leader out of that interaction, within reason and up to a point, depending on the role that they're playing in my life. Maturity is accepting differences. That's one of the differences. It is what it is, and it's set up that way for a reason. People before us decided what society was going to look like, and this is where we are in evolution. Maturity also requires good sportsmanship. So, I am not, physically capable to do the same as or more than a man. So therefore, one, I don't even want to. Let's just put that out there. I'm happy that I don't have to do all of that. And number two, that means the same as if we were doing a competition and I didn't win the competition. I got second place. Well, do I stomp? Do I pout? Do I throw a tantrum? Do I sabotage the first person? Do I think about cheating next time so that I can win? No. It happened that way for a reason. Maybe they, studied a little longer or something. Who knows? The point is, good sportsmanship is a sign of maturity. It's understanding that there were things involved that are bigger than just you and your recent actions. And that's for others as well. Understanding that there are things involved that are bigger than just their recent actions. So, men have to decide if they want to include specific women in their lives and in the events that they have coming up. And they use the view from the woman, they use her view on masculinity to determine that. So, you can't live life as a mute. You're going to be required to speak. You're going to be asked certain questions. And there are certain questions you cannot avoid. This is one. I know y'all would like me to not, but that is not a question that I can avoid, nor should I. So, if men disagree with my assessment of masculinity, they are free to talk about it. Because either that person is going to be in my life and we can think of a compromise or something different for that specific interaction, or either we are not supposed to interact going forward. I was taught certain things for a specific reason. So a man in my life would have to be logically convincing, patient, and permanent before I start changing what I think a man is. And I'm not giving details about my view of masculinity. I'm just talking about the reason why I speak on it. So it's not impossible, but it does need to be positively purposeful for me to start adding in additional information or taking out information that I was taught. So, how do I speak about masculinity? As an interested onlooker and an invested audience member. So what do I say about masculinity? All of this that I just said. So I have also, not only was I taught a specific view of masculinity by the men in my life, it was also confirmed by women who have attracted and kept, declined, lost men. They interacted with men. So it was confirmed by them as well. I don't have the experience of living it out. So how would I know anything different? Some battles, it's just not worth it to fight. And I don't engage in conversations that require me to have lived as a man. So, I got it. Men in the past decided what they wanted masculinity to look like. They decided what was possible. They decided what was appropriate. And then they taught their daughters. Some of those daughters I have conversations with. And they tell me what their fathers taught them. I tell them what my dad taught me. those men also taught their daughters what to look for and why it's beneficial to them. They taught their sons, their nephews, kids in their classroom. They taught them how to behave and how to display it, the lack thereof as well. I believe that men should be knowledgeable, I believe that they should be decisive, and they should be logical. The individual differences, that's personality, and you get to be that, because I'm not asking for men to be a monolith. I'm just asking for them to be leaders in charge. I'm asking for them to live, to survive. I understand life happens. And I also need for you guys to accept appreciation and gratitude. All the other various things, the differences between one another, that's a good thing. Everybody can't be clones. So, depending, the men that are closer in relation to me, I need them to be those things and leave room for my participation, for my support. I think that's pretty simple, right? Not trying to be complex. So, what do I say when I speak of masculinity? A lot of the things that I think are positive. If it's not, I'm open to hearing why, respectfully. So, basically, I'm going to continue to speak on masculinity. Y'all can't stop me. So, and y'all shouldn't. Y'all shouldn't want to stop me. You should want me to speak on masculinity, because then it's a learning opportunity for you. What have other men been saying and displaying? Because you do need to know that, so that y'all can do your own gatekeeping. So just say I can't speak to or about you. I agree, and I will happily oblige. Bye.